Okay, now it's recording. I'm not sure what it was. Maybe we just need to somebody to leave. Maybe rejoin. I don't know. Okay, cool. Well, hello everyone, and this is the June 2024 Tempo Community Call. We postponed it from last week. The team was out of the office for kind of like a shared offsite, so now we're doing it this week. And let's see. I'll go ahead and share my screen. There we go. Cool. Yeah, I mean, we have some stuff to talk about. I think it's a little bit quieter this month. So the big news is that 2.5 is released. So that's pretty cool. And I think, we're kind of have some stuff in the pipe. So I think it's a little bit quiet this month while we're working on the next release and the next round of features. But yeah, we'll go ahead and cover what we have there. 2.5, here's a link to the blog post. Oh, okay, cool. Big stuff in here. So I guess the biggest one would be the new block format. So vParquet 4 has a new block format, new columns that will let us search kind of like the additional parts of the trace that we haven't been able to yet. So that is including events, links, event attributes. Those have been on the list for a long time, but it took some time to get the column layout right, the performance where it was acceptable, and then adding that support to the language and stuff. Yeah, Mario, go ahead.
Yeah, also arrays in case anyone uses them for, I don't know, HTTP headers maybe. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. So what it means is if like the auto instrumentation for HTTP request headers, it puts the values in an array even if you only have one. And I'm not sure if it's linked in here, but the way it works is if you just write the query as if you wanted to match on it, it will work. So the existing language for that will work. Maybe what we could do is get like a little snippet in here, like of what that would look like for the request header. And it will search any value in the array for you. Now we have more features coming up that we want to do in the language to get like more precise interaction with arrays and things like that. But for now, like that handling, I think it solves most of the use case. So you want to search your request headers or other things like that. Yeah, the other thing is, so more streaming endpoints. This is really cool. Streaming search is really, really awesome. So what it means is instead of waiting for the whole search to complete, maybe it could take a few minutes, something like that. We start streaming results to the browser right away. This is just kind of a rewrite of a lot of things on the query, on the read path. So we hope to do streaming for everything else now. Metrics queries, autocomplete lookups, things like that. Yeah, okay, so this is cool. So I wanted to talk about this here too, but just a lot of like new, really cool metrics functions. So this one is quantile. So you write this computing the P99, P90, P50 of, oh, I don't know, not that one, duration. This is a good one. Yeah, so computing like the P99 of duration. So this is cool because this is right on your tracing data. It doesn't require any other dependencies. It doesn't require a metrics backend. So previously, if you wanted to do this, you had to do through the metrics generator. You had to pre-configure your cardinality with your labels. But now you can just query this straight on your data. And this is funny. This is just kind of talking about how it works for any numerical attributes. So even status code. So if you ever wondered what your P99 HTTP status code was, you can do that now, which is super amazing, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes for a great April Fool's blog post next
Yeah.
year.
Right.
How we built an SLO. Fantastic.
Cool. Yeah. Yep. Okay. So that's 2.5. And yeah, I'd like to get a snippet in here to talk about like what searching on request headers would look like. That would be cool. The next thing to talk about, TraceQL Metrics. So I guess Ruben maybe had to drop, but previously we were talking about redoing the way that works. So the approach that we tried like earlier this year was to deduplicate everything on the read path and to yeah, that's a good one. We can call that out. Yeah, you're talking about in 2.5, Kim? Yeah. Sure, yeah, we'll jump back to that. Maybe Zach is the best one to talk about that. Zach, do you wanna, yeah, go.
Sure. Yeah, I can add some context in the doc. So basically, we changed the ownership of the process that runs tempo inside the default Docker container, and so any files on disk will need to be updated. So there are some Kubernetes tricks you could do for this. If you're not in Kubernetes, probably just a chown of the data makes some sense. Init container would work in a Kubernetes environment too, where we just chown on startup. That would need to be done once, and then that way all of the files on disk continue to be owned by the user 10,001. So this follows the same UID pattern that Loki's had for years. We're just a little bit late to the game. And feel free to jump into Slack or file issues if you run into anything. There was an ongoing thread. I think we missed the tempo chart, not the tempo distributed chart, but the tempo chart itself did not have the security context. And so some users bump into some problems, but there are solutions posted on the GitHub issue. I think that's all there is to say about that. Yeah, by all means, ask questions if you run into issues, though. We want to make sure you're working.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Zach, and thanks, Kim, for calling that one out. Yeah, TraceQL metrics. So what we tried an approach to deduplicate on the read path. So if you have replication factor 3 for like a production cluster, it means we write the data 3 times. It proved just really difficult to do that efficiently, to dedupe on the read path. So what we've done in this release and also the next one is we're switching the read path over for metrics queries to an alternate one. But what it means is generators are a big component of that. So you have to be like enabled the local blocks processor. And there's some other settings that go along with that. And maybe we can get a link in here to what those settings are. We can come back and put that link in. But basically, you have to enable local blocks, which sends a copy of traffic over to the generators. And then you have to update the query front end to query the generators. And it also queries an alternate set of all the blocks. So we'll write like a deduplicated copy of the data, which makes reads way more efficient, makes metrics queries a lot more performant. So this is the path we're going now, but it also lends itself into in the future, if we, for instance, do take on a Kafka dependency, it would also be an alternate way of getting to that deduplicated data. But either way, this is definitely the way forward. And I guess, I was kind of hoping like if we could hear from any people using metrics queries on larger clusters, it would be fun to work through this and show you what we're doing and how you could do that in your cluster. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, the other thing, yeah, so that's enough about that one. The other thing is the new functions. I actually was just cobbling together a dashboard here that I thought was cool looking. And I wanted to show off the histogram functions with another thing. Because I think these are really important for dashboarding things. That's something Tempo's been missing is cool charts. So now that we have metrics queries, it's time to start using them. So things like that. Yeah, so this is just quantile over time. This is the P99, P90, P50 duration. So, you could have a chart like this is common that we do. It's in the dashboards that are in the JSON. It's common for us to kind of print these 3 metrics, for the read path, things like that. Well, so now we can do that with a TraceQL query. And yeah, it's pretty standard. So duration, and the other thing to note is you can actually plot multiple quantiles like in one query. So that's really cool too. But the other one that I wanted to show is the other function. This one, this is cool. Histogram over time. It's kind of like what's internally driving the quantiles, but it's also exposed. And you can use this to create heat maps. So it's as easy as calling this function, changing the panel type to a heat map, right? Yeah, and this is cool. So I think this is like pretty fun, and I would wonder, like to see this in more dashboards too. I think this could be cool. I don't know about this color scheme. I think normally I see something, maybe not that one, but some other ones. Yeah, they look cool. Yeah. So yep. So those are fun. And I think the other functions pre-exist, but in 2.5, everything got a little bit more performant. So that's cool. Oh yeah, cool. So we have a document here. Cool. Alrighty. Anything else, Mario? Do you have anything else you want to talk about for metrics, or anything in 2.5 that maybe we want to highlight before we move on to the upcoming stuff?
No, I think you've covered almost all of it. Yeah, I was hoping someone would ask about RF1 or Kafka, or I was curious on that front. But yeah, if you're running TraceQL Metrics in a large cluster, this is something you'll be interested in. The documentation might not be the best. That's somewhat delivered, because it's also serving, I would say, as validation for this new approach of deduping on the write path instead of the read path. But yeah, I think documentation will get better. And if you have any questions, just go ask us in the community Slack or the tempo repo or somewhere where we can be found.
Cool. Okay, upcoming features. So this is cool. We have a couple of PRs here that I want to show. Being able to search on events and links. So now these are added to the language. The block format is there in 2.5 and now in the main branch. And these were just out of the 2.5 cutoff. But now they're there. So if you want to experiment with those on the latest builds, and they will be in the new one or in the next release. And the other one looks like this. Yep, so these are cool. So this is great to see the new format kind of like powering these language features in a performant way. And I think after even more, those are the intrinsics, but you would also have event attributes. So that would be something like event.attribute this value, something like that. Yep, that's cool. Yep, this one is very exciting. So, oh yeah, cool. So we have a PR here. I will let whoever wants to take this one go for it.
Yeah, so we're adding support for generating native histograms from the metrics generator. So far we generate like the classic histograms in which you have to define your buckets in advance. But Prometheus developed a new type of histograms which uses sparse buckets, which will adapt based upon the data it is, observing. So it means it has a higher resolution, and it's also more efficient because it kind of adapts the buckets based upon the data. It drops like 0 buckets in between. So it's just like more efficient overall. So we want to also generate this from the metric generator. So we have this nicer, higher resolution histograms. Unfortunately, this means we have to change like a large part of how we generate histograms because the implementation is a lot more complicated. So we're moving to using more of the Prometheus library to generate histograms, which is what we're like trying out right now. It will be an optional toggle to switch between generating the normal histograms, the native histograms, or both of them at the same time. so you can kind of pick. They should be, the reason we're doing this with a toggle is because the native histograms are queried differently, so it is a breaking change. You cannot use the existing queries on native histograms, you have to change them. So this will break dashboards and other existing queries we have. But like by the time we release this, we'll also like try to provide as much guidance as possible. But yeah, like I think it's going well and looks really cool because you have like very detailed histograms that way.
Cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, the increased resolution for that, like just what we touched on. I mean, that's what they're for. Like it's great. Yeah, really excited.
Yeah.
And once we do this, it opens up the possibility for kind of like addressing, you know, kind of like using it for metrics queries as well. So we're using histograms behind the scenes for these kinds of things. And the accuracy is just, you know, it could definitely be improved because native histograms is like the best way to improve that. So even like this heat map here, right, that you can see the buckets here, maybe they're just generalized. They're not tailored to your data. So that's what we need the native histograms for. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, we were like trying to focus on getting this PR merged, which will have like a feature toggle, and then we'll improve stuff like memory usage and make it more production ready. So you might be able to try it soonish.
Cool. Yeah. Do you think that this would become the default behavior in a future release?
We'll kind of have to see. The issue is it breaks the existing histograms, right? So we can just enable it across the board. But I would recommend it for like new installations for sure. I think we still have to like figure out how much it breaks and like how difficult it is to migrate. But like Mimir, like the Mimir team has also been pushing native histograms because it's, you know, just like better. So I think we can also piggyback on a lot of material they have.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. Any other upcoming features that we wanted to call out? I think these are like the main ones. Cool. Yeah, so we had slotted here time for Q&A. So yeah, I think because we shifted the calendar around, attendance is kind of light. So we might just actually wrap up here.
Oh, did you post it in the community Slack?
I did.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Well.
Yeah, I was glad to see my ability to ping at here still worked. Zach knows what I'm talking about. Yeah.
It will have ad channel.
Ad channel? Yeah, maybe. Maybe that would be good.
Yeah, you're right, Jenny. The calendar not getting moved might have impacted that too.
Surprise community call.
Yeah.
I had to go calendar snoop to find the information. So if I had trouble, I'm sure there were a lot of people that just slipped their minds. They thought it was last week.
That's why you publish it on YouTube.
Yep. That's right. All right. Unless viewer 1 has questions.
Ready, viewer 1?
Cool. All right. Yeah, I think this is good. I think we can wrap it up.
All right. Sounds
Okay.
good.
Okay, good. Okay, see y'all.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.